we're back in the ladies' room.
Oh.
And it's Keena and Kimberly, and we were having a conversation for the music break about Florida A&M University, my alma mater, and the issues that are going on with hazing in the band, and really broader, and just talking about hazing in general.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never understood it. And I don't know if it's, I never really got hit as a child.
Okay.
And so if my parents didn't hit me, there is no way in hell I'm going to let some scrub hit me.
Right.
And I've always, even at the notion of someone thinking that if you hit me, and then later on we're going to be friends, that's never ever going to happen. If you hit me, I will always hate you. I will never do anything for you.
And so I think that has to do with your upbringing.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, because you weren't hit as a child. I was. I got, and not a whole lot of spankings, but I got spankings. But more importantly, I grew up with my older sister. She's 3 years older than me.
Yeah.
We fought. I'm talking about going for blows a lot. And I just grew up with that fighting mentality. I grew up thinking that's how you solve a problem.
Right.
And I don't think it's been too detrimental to, like, I'm not going to try and start a fight now. But
some people never grow out of it, though.
Yeah, that's what's sad.
Which is why they disrespect you. You disrespect me.
Okay, back to loving hip-hop, ATL. But yeah, so I can see how, like you said, if somebody hits you and you're going to be friends. I mean, even from kindergarten through 9th grade, I think I got in a fight in school every year. And each time it was with a friend. It was just the build-up of confrontation. You fight, and once it was like the fight was the climax. You got it all out, and then it was like we could be friends now.
Yes, that doesn't make any sense to me. That doesn't make any sense to me at all.
And even today, there are some times when I feel like, you arguing with a friend, and it's like you going back and forth, and I just feel like sometimes, okay, let's just put on some gloves and get in a boxing ring and get this frustration out, and then we could talk, as calm people. So I know it makes no sense to you, but I think that may lend to. But again, I think that when I pledged, again, I never got hit.
Yeah.
I think I would have shut it down because these weren't young ladies that I was good friends with. It can only work for me with good friends. If we are good friends first, we have like sisters. One of those relationships where you plan to, hang to the end. So I don't think it would have worked.
So should we scrap? Should we go out back and scrap? Is that the right term? Scrap.
Yeah, that's old school. You went way back. But so I think that's what kind of gets into the mindset. If you've grown up and you've been punished, and part of your punishment may have been spanking, then you may not think it's as wrong as someone who hasn't been spanked.
I think because I'll admit I am not a fan of spanking, but as a form of punish, or as a form of, because the thing that you're trying to do is correct the behavior,
right.
And I don't think it's very effective with a lot of children. And I agree. I think it leads you to this. It's a part of changing your attitude, changing your personality in some way. And so that's why they can go into a hazing situation and think, oh, it's going to change me. It's going to make me a better person. It's going to make these people respect me. It's going to make these, because from what I understand, Champion hadn't done it in a number of years. He was about to go into his senior year, and he finally was like, because they were always ribbing him about not being totally legit.
Okay.
Because he never went through the bus seat ritual.
Okay.
And so finally he said, you know
what? Bus seat ritual? Okay, so it's something.
So that crossing bus C was the actual hazing ritual that ended up taking his life.
Oh,
and if you don't cross bus C, then you're not considered legit. You aren't considered cool, or whatever the term is that they would use. And so he had, didn't do it for a really long time. Like, no, I'm not going to do it. And he just kept getting ribbed for it. Like, he wouldn't be treated as good as, say, his roommate and that's his roommate was on Real Sports. He wasn't treated as good as his roommate by the rest of the band members because his roommate had gone through it and he hadn't. And so he finally succumbed to the pressure, the peer pressure, to go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
And, and I guess for me, other people's opinions have never really mattered that much to me.
But that's because you grew up in a family, you grew up in a loving environment.
Yes.
Where you...
Shout out to mom and dad.
Yes, where your mom and dad made sure that you knew you were loved.
Yes.
You knew who you were.
Yes.
And you didn't need validation from just miscellaneous people.
No.
And a lot of us didn't go through that.
That's true.
So I grew up succumbing to some peer pressure. From the... And, people think it's not real, but I grew up trying to dumb down. So that I could be accepted by my peers because I was teased for being smart.
Yeah.
And it didn't work. So I kind of, I learned that it didn't matter.
Right.
I learned it very else. I learned it very quick. But I did try to dumb down because I wanted that validation. I wanted to be as popular as some of the other people. And then when I realized that didn't work, I realized, let me just do me.
Right.
And I don't care about what other people think. But some people don't get that epiphany. They don't experience that at an early age, and they allow themselves to go through certain things that others wouldn't.
Right.
Like I said, the hazing is a tradition, but the beating, because it's like some of the fun stuff to humiliation.
If it was silly, fun stuff, like you all have to dress alike, you can't walk on grass, you have a silly name, and every time they call out that name, you have to stand up and do some stupid dance.
Right. Yeah.
The thing is, you can't do anything fun like that where you can laugh about it later because they've taken this brutal element, this violent element, and put it in there.
Yeah.
And said that this legitimizes your participation in this organization because you can take a beating.
Right, and your skill should legitimize your participation in the organization.
It's like, because that has nothing to do with how well you're going to actually work in the organization when you get in it.
Right. You're right.
So it's like completely defeats the purpose of why you would join in the first place.
I agree.
And I've always had kind of an old mind,
but
I was like, because I thought about pledging, and initially I went to they used to do these little street cleanups.
A community service.
Yeah, the community service. So you would go and do the street cleanups, and they would say, "What do you know?" The girls would say, "What do you know about me?" And in my head, thinking, "I don't know."
You just came to help clean the street,
right? I was like, I'm not trying to know a whole lot about you. I know what line you're on and stuff, and where you're from, and what your major is.
So that never happened.
I feel like that's enough.
Yeah.
So I would say what I did know. Do you really know me? And I was like, I'll find out. And then, but at one of the events, one of my friends was over somewhere else, and I didn't find out about it until after the fact, but they pushed her up against the wall and was saying stuff about not knowing them or something. I don't even remember what it was exactly. And from that I was like, oh wait, they're pushing folks? Yeah, right. That's what I was thinking. Like, wait a second, they pushing folks? So it wasn't even about hitting. It was like, you're gonna push me, and it's a problem.
Right.
It's a problem. Like, you aren't gonna put your hands on me and think that we're gonna be okay.
Right.
I don't care what it is. If you want to say silly stuff and have us jogging, running in mud, or if it was silly stuff, I would do that kind of stuff. But put your hands on me or hit me or any of that is just crazy
a little too
to me.
much. But both, I think the FAMU situation and the Penn State situation, because both of these could have been stopped a long time ago.
Yes.
It shows what colleges will do to keep their money makers going.
That's right.
Because that FAMU band is hot.
Right.
I mean,
it is definitely the money maker for FAMU, and but what is disappointing for the adults in the situation, because children and young adults make mistakes.
Yeah.
And you hopefully, Lord willing, learn from those, and you learn how to make decisions better.
Right.
But the adults in the situation,
those mofos need to go to jail.
Yeah, it's very short-sighted to think that by covering up something that it's going to protect the whatever it is in the end.
The institute
it's incredibly
at large.
short-sighted because nowhere and hear me, Radio Land, nowhere in the history of time has any cover-up ever worked in the long run.
Right.
None.
Everything comes to the light. Everything comes to the light.
And some would say, well, you wouldn't know because the cover-up worked. But it's never worked.
We know enough that fail to say that they don't work. They don't work. Right.
It never, ever works. And it is amazing to me that people continue to try. They're like, well, no, it's because I didn't do it. It's because I didn't help do it.
Right.
Therefore, that must be why it's going to work this time.
Right.
It's never worked. If they really wanted to stop hazing in the school, because they say it's out of control, I don't know how we could stop it. You know, that's part of it, saying, because it doesn't happen on campus. It doesn't, well, if you really wanted to stop it, why don't you require medical reviews? Have a doctor come in, a male doctor, a female doctor for each, sex, and they do physical reviews.
Kind of like random drug
every
testing.
single month. Yeah,
like
and you don't know when it is, and it's
right.
random.
Right.
That's something easy that you could put in place.
And that is proactive instead of reactive.
There's a what have you.
Right.
And and if you don't tell who did it, you're automatically expelled.
Right.
Period. No conversation, nothing, because you have them and their parents sign that agreement. Them and their parents
sign that agreement
at the beginning. This is what we're going to do. There's random spot checks for everything.
Yeah.
Period.
But
so it's like if you really want to make an effort to stop it, then you could.
But they weren't as concerned about stopping it as they try to say they are. And so, and it's sad because it goes on many other places, and I hate that Robert Champion had to die.
Right.
But I hope that all these other organizations will learn from it and learn that you don't need all that to bring somebody into your organization.
Right. And it's be more intellectual than that. That's the thing. I guess be smart. There's a lot of ways to see if someone is serious about being a part of whatever group you're a part of. Think a little bit more. Put some thought to it.
Yeah.
Like saying we're gonna hit somebody, that's dumbass thinking.
Right. Anybody can do that.
Anybody can do that. Money for the children. And thank you. So anyone could do that. But it takes a little bit more thought to say, how am I going to know if Kimberly's really serious about being in this organization? How do I know if she's going to contribute and take us to the next level? Let's be more about growing things. Let's be more about building the Googles and the Apples, and let's be more about building strong types of organizations as opposed to petly hitting BS.
Yeah.
So common and simple thinking to me.
Yes, and we need to rise above that. I agree. So it's sad for both institutions.
It really is.
And it's really sad for the students that participate in band at FAMU or play
the music program.
The music program.
It's broader in that the music program as a whole, whether it's orchestra, band, everything is in because the scholarship situation is, and so therefore it's their ability to get their education and get their education paid for.
Right, and that's one of the main reasons why I don't think that Penn State should be levied the death penalty. I think, again, that the conspirators that help cover it up,
that's right,
they need to go to jail.
They do.
They need to go to jail, and the university as a whole shouldn't have to suffer because these men were being immoral. And I think that's how this should be handled. And take down the statue. Because if you want to get away from this, if you want to rise above this, you can't have that man statue just greeting people as they come to campus. So I agree with taking down the statue, but I don't agree with the death penalty.
Right.
And I hope FAMU's band program comes
back better and stronger.
Better and stronger.
Yes.
Better and stronger. Because
adults, let's be adults.
Because I enjoy that halftime.
Yeah.
The HBCU halftime is something else.
Right. All right. Thank you for being in the ladies' room.
We appreciate you.
And maybe we'll be back. Oh no, we'll decide.
Yeah.
Stick with us.
Hang in there.
I hate to come down to the level to become a BW, a basic woman. But if they don't stop, but this time I'm with my man. And these women